Good evening and welcome back. Tonight, we're going to have a zombie-filled evening talking about George A. Romero's Day of the Dead. This is the third entry of the Romero zombie trilogy, taking place after Dawn of the Dead, which we talked about in our first episode. So I first saw this on TV when I was very young, and this is actually the first of the 3 films that I saw. Growing up as a kid in the 90s, I was zombie crazed. I loved everything zombie. You had Resident Evil, there was the toys, there was the video games, and then George A. Romero actually did direct a Resident Evil 2 live-action commercial, which is pretty cool.
Biohazard 2.
Every movie theater and arcade you went to had House of the Dead just on full blast going, and you could just shoot the zombies. Zombies were everywhere! And naturally, as I got more interested in zombies, I kept hearing the name Romero, the Romero films, and that they were the zombie films that kind of started it all. So it started getting hyped up in my head because I loved all this zombie media, and the fact that this guy kind of created modern day zombies as we know it. I was so excited to finally see one, and it took me so long to find one because these films aren't widely available. And one night, luckily, I was able to catch it on Sci-Fi Channel, and goddamn, it was amazing. I was in zombie heaven. So just to give a little overarching story timeline where we're at with this film, Night of the Living Dead follows a group of survivors in a farmhouse, and at that time, the outbreak is just starting to happen. People are uncertain what's going on. There's a lot of hysteria. Things are not really clear what's going on, and it's a small contained incident in a farmhouse. Next, we have Dawn of the Dead, which follows a group of survivors fleeing Philadelphia and taking refuge in a shopping mall, and they hold out there, and the virus starts to progressively get worse. It's spreading more. People are fleeing their jobs, and society's kind of just falling apart. By Day of the Dead, zombies have overrun the entire world, and they actually outnumber the humans. All the remaining humans are living in secure bunkers underneath the surface, so we're all stuck in underground bunkers. This opening scene to me always stood out as one of the best visual representations of a zombie apocalypse. In my opinion, it's one of the best.
Is anyone there? Hello? Is anyone there? Is anyone there?
Our group of survivors make a trip by helicopter to the city to see if they can find any survivors, but there's no one left. They just attract a horde of undead. The majority of the film after this takes place in the underground bunker that they're taking refuge in. As you may have guessed, things in the bunker are very, very tense. It's not a nice living situation at all. You kind of have 2 factions. You have the scientists and the military. Supplies are running really low, tensions are running really high, and any hope of finding a cure or improving the situation is kind of fleeting.
Keep it up, and I'll shove that bottle of yours right up your wise ass.
I've got better things to do than listen to this kindergarten. Are we finished here?
No, we ain't finished here, lady. Sit down.
What else do you want? We've given you the reports for this week. We've given you
You've
everything
given
you've
us a
asked
mouthful of Greek salad. Formulas, Equations, a lot of fancy terms that don't mean a thing. I want to know if you're doing something that's going to help us out of this deep shit we're in. Or if you're all in there just jerking each other off.
So then you have Dr. Logan, nicknamed Frankenstein by the military. He's running experiments, dissecting zombies, trying to figure out some way to kind of reverse what's happened to the people.
Look, Sarah, look. See, it wants me. It wants food, but it has no stomach. It can take no nourishment from what it ingests. It's working on instinct, on deep, dark, primordial instinct.
Things have gotten so bad that the only hopes for a future for the humans would be to possibly re-educate the zombies and reintegrate them into society. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I'll show them that these creatures can be domesticated even without the surgery. Knowing what they are, we can begin to approach them properly, condition them, control them. We've got to do this, sir. It's our only hope. Yes, this is Major Cooper.
Captain Rhodes, played by Joe Pilato, is the villain here, and he is awesome. He is completely insane and feels completely unpredictable, and I would be terrified to be around this guy.
I said, I'll have you shot.
Have you lost your mind?
No, ma'am. Have you? I just told you I was willing to kill you if you didn't get back in your chair. You didn't. Shoot that woman or you're dead. You think I'm fucking around, Steve? You're wrong.
Is there food?
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time!
His two henchmen are huge assholes, and they really make the living situation worse. And this whole thing really goes to show that the humans, the military going kind of crazy, are worse than the zombies themselves. And then we have Bub. Oh, Bub.
You remember them from before? From before. He remembers everything that he used to.
He's a docile zombie that's kind of friendly and has some memories of his past life. He's still a zombie, he still eats meat, but he's able to learn and kind of piece things back together. He's our only real look into potentially re-educating the zombies. The special effects in this film are amazing. They were done by Tom Savini, who you might recognize as the biker from Dawn of the Dead, and his work on a number of films, a million films, like Friday the 13th and Maniac and tons of others. And working underneath him on this film was Greg Nicotero, who is currently the executive producer and special effects supervisor on The Walking Dead. So you can kind of see he got his experience with Day of the Dead and then kind of went on and carried that over to Walking Dead, which has some pretty impressive zombies. At this point of the trilogy, the gore and the zombies are perfected. They look absolutely incredible and so realistic and so gory. Especially in the closing moments of the film when the base gets overrun and the military assholes get what they deserve. It's really satisfying. Now, a lot of people I've talked to over the years have said they like Dawn of the Dead more because it has a lot more action, a lot more fun moments. Day of the Dead definitely takes a more serious and bleak tone, but I do think that the zombie effects in this one are the best of the trilogy. And it has a really good commentary on human nature and the way our society works when kind of forced into these dire situations. I hold the Romero trilogy in very high regard. I kind of think of it as the gold standard of zombie films, and that should be the starting point of any zombie enthusiast. I love them, and I've watched them 100 times, and even to this day, I still watch them. So until next time.
Come on!